There is not usually much to talk about when it comes to a footballer who only has one start in a cup game and just 51 minutes spread across 4 league matches. After all, that works out to roughly 13 minutes per game in the league. But somehow, we have a player who has taken those limited minutes and turned them into something far more important. He has grabbed his chances with both hands and become a key figure in our unbeaten run so far this season. And that player is Federico Chiesa. Yes, the same Italian who many had already written off after a poor first year where he was barely seen on the pitch. Now though, he looks like a man ready to fight his way into the starting 11. So before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and let us break down every single thing Chiesa has contributed this season that could make Arne Slot rethink his plans and give him a starting role. By now we all know this team loves to make things harder than they should be. Even when we won against Everton and Burnley, it was not straightforward. We struggled to really control the game, and in other matches we threw away leads only to storm back in the last 10 minutes and crush our opponents with late goals. Now, I am sure you know who lit the spark for that trend, right? It was 2-2 against Bournemouth at Anfield in the opening game of the season. We had just thrown away a 2-goal lead and were desperately searching for a late winner. And who rises to the occasion? You guessed it, Federico Chiesa. In the 88th minute, only 6 minutes after stepping onto the pitch, he scored his very first league goal in a Liverpool shirt. And while at first glance it looked like a stunning finish, the real beauty of the goal was in the details leading up to it. The move began with Alisson sending a long ball out to the right side. From there you can see both Konate and Curtis Jones charging into the box, ready to pounce on a cross if it came. Chiesa, on the other hand, did not rush in aggressively. Instead, he jogged his way into the area with a bit more patience. That subtle decision was key. By allowing Konate and Jones to occupy the Bournemouth defenders and drag them deeper into their own box, Chiesa created just enough space for himself. And because he is not usually seen as an aerial threat, the defenders naturally focused on bigger targets like Konate. This is exactly what Chiesa exploited. When the ball dropped, he was perfectly positioned, meeting the rebound with a clean and precise strike that gave us the lead. And honestly, just take a moment to admire that volley. The timing, the technique, the way it kissed the net, it was pure class. In the very next match, the dramatic 3-2 win against Newcastle, Chiesa once again played a crucial role in securing the victory. You might be thinking, what are we talking about? The goals came from Gravenberch, Ekitika, and Ngumoha. But let me jog your memory. Once more, after throwing away a 2-0 lead, we found ourselves pushing hard against a Newcastle side that was down to 10 men. As the clock kept ticking, it started to feel like the game was slipping toward a draw. Then, out of nowhere, Ngumoha popped up to score his very first senior league goal. And while he will rightfully get the spotlight for finishing the move, Chiesa was absolutely vital in making that goal possible and in making sure we walked away with 3 points. The sequence started with Kirkes carrying the ball. You can see Szoboszlai working to open up a passing lane by dragging Joelinton wide, hoping to create space for a ball into Chiesa. That pass never came though, and you could clearly see the frustration on Chiesa's face at the missed chance. But here is where his intelligence showed. Rather than switching off, he immediately looked for another way to impact the play. As the ball moved across to the opposite side, Chiesa adjusted. He drifted centrally, almost sliding back into that false 9 role, and began helping the team reset into their possession shape. It was a small movement, but it was the kind of positioning that laid the groundwork for what came next. At that moment, it was nearly impossible for Chiesa to get on the ball. Not only was he tightly marked, but Konate also had no way to play him through because the passing lane was completely blocked. Meanwhile, Ibu, Elliott, Gravenberch and Bradley combined brilliantly to work the ball out on that side. This is where Chiesa's awareness stood out. Instead of forcing his way into the box like a typical number 9 would, he peeled away from his marker and joined the overload. That clever movement gave him the space he needed. Once the ball found him, Chiesa wasted no time. He immediately played a sharp pass into Salah, and from there, the rest is history. Salah's involvement set the stage, and Ngumoha delivered the moment we will not forget with his first senior league goal. After that, Chiesa featured for about half an hour against both Arsenal and Burnley, but in those matches he did not really make an impact. And honestly, that is fair. Arsenal are a title contender with one of the toughest setups in the league. And Burnley, well, that game is one we would all rather forget. They parked the bus and put in their best impression of peak Jose Mourinho football. Against Atletico and Everton, Chiesa did not get a single minute on the pitch either. But then came the EFL Cup tie against Southampton, and that was the night he reminded everyone exactly what he can bring. In fact, he was the main reason we booked our place in the next round. The first goal from that game is a perfect example of his cleverness when pressing. As Southampton tried to recycle possession at the back, Isak immediately applied pressure, pushing their defenders and trying to lock play to one side. Chiesa, though, showed the extra bit of intelligence. He waited for the right moment, watching the goalkeeper commit to his left. Just as the ball was rolling toward the next receiver, Chiesa pounced. He nicked it cleanly and without hesitation, squared it across to Isak, who slotted in his first goal for the Reds. Simple, effective, and exactly the kind of contribution that changes games. For the second goal, we honestly cannot put it better than Slot himself, who said it was all about Fede when he was asked about the Ekitike red card. This moment showed just how smart Chiesa is without the ball. He positioned himself right on the edge of Southampton's defensive line, reading the situation perfectly. He saw that Robertson had time and space, with no real pressure on him, and instantly realized there was a chance to get in behind. And that is exactly what happened. Robertson floated a perfectly weighted long ball, and Chiesa exploded forward with incredible pace. His timing was spot on, avoiding the offside trap and bursting through into the box completely free. Once again though, his selflessness shone through. Instead of going for glory himself, he calmly squared the ball across to Ekitike, who finished the move and sealed our qualification for the next round. It was the kind of play that summed up Chiesa's impact. Intelligent, quick, and always putting the team first. In today's game, it is actually quite rare to find someone like Federico Chiesa. Let us explain why. His career so far has been filled with setbacks, especially with the injuries that kept him off the pitch for long stretches. Last season, he barely had a chance to show what he could do. Now, most players in that situation would look for the easy way out. They might return to their home country where things feel more comfortable, or take a lucrative move to MLS or Saudi Arabia. But Chiesa wanted none of that. All he wanted was to stay, to fight, and to prove himself. And right now, that is exactly what he is doing. So, does he deserve a starting spot? That is the big question. On the right wing, there is no debate. Mo Salah owns that position. Through the middle, whether as a striker or false nine, we are stacked with both Ekitike and Isak competing for minutes. That is an incredible amount of depth, which leaves us with the left wing, a position that, here at Newcastle FC, we have always believed suits Chiesa the best. From the left, he can cut inside on his stronger foot, whip in dangerous crosses, or unleash shots on goal, something he mastered during his days with the Juventus and the Italian national team. The only concern, of course, is his fitness and whether his body can handle the demands of starting game after game. And we also have to consider the competition. Gakpo may be struggling for form at the moment, but on his day, he is a fantastic option. Then there is Florian Wirtz, who is still settling into life in the Premier League, but has already shown he looks very comfortable when played on the left. Slot has even tested him there in recent matches after making changes. And finally, we have Ynwa. The talent is undeniable, and we can see why fans are excited. But at just 17 years old, it makes sense to carefully manage his minutes and avoid putting too much pressure on his shoulders too soon. So that's where we are with Federico Chiesa right now. A player who many thought was finished, who many believed would quietly fade away, is instead reminding us what real fight and determination look like. He is not asking for sympathy, he is simply making the most of every minute he gets and forcing himself back into the conversation. That is the kind of mentality every top team needs. Now, the big question is whether he has done enough to earn a regular starting spot. Should Slot give him the nod on the left wing and let him build rhythm with consistent games? Or should he continue to be used as an impact player off the bench, coming on to change matches when we need that extra spark? And what about the competition, Gakpo, Wirtz, and the young Ynwa? How do you see that battle shaping up? Whatever happens, what is clear is that Chiesa has already proven something to us and to himself. He is still here, still fighting, and still capable of producing moments that matter. And for us as fans, that alone is worth getting excited about.